Hey everyone, Dominic here with the Raving Hordes Game Club in Saskatoon. This time we've got a 4,500 point game, Orcs and Goblins versus Warriors of the Dark Gods. The scenario we played was Frontline Clash, with Breakthrough as the secondary. Let's take a look at what the deployment loses. So here's a quick look at my spells. I have a Orc Shaman Adept. Here are from my left to right, we've got a unit of Black Orcs with Iron Orcs with an Iron Orc BSB. There's my Shaman. A unit of Common Orc Warriors, I guess, with paired weapons. There's also a Common Orc Chief in there. Next to that, we've got a unit of Orcs with bows. Subbing in, because I forgot my Git launchers at home. That one there, the Dwarven Ballista. We have my Common Orc General on a Boar Chariot. A unit of Cave Goblins with nets and bows up here. There's 24 of them. Again, I forgot my Git launchers at home, so that one's what that is. A Gargantula. And over here we have a Forest Goblin King on a Huntsman Spider. Far side, I also have a unit of Common Orc Boar Riders, just the core ones. For my opponent, he's got a unit of Feldrax with paired weapons, a unit of Forsworn with his Doom Lord General in there, I think it's a Forsaken one, Big Brother Giant, 2 Warrior Chariots, a unit of Warhounds. Next to that, he's got a big unit of Warriors with, I think they were Sloth, Mark. Chosen Chariot up there, who's also, I believe, a Sloth. Small unit of Barbarians beside that. And lastly, on his flank, he's got a unit of Warrior Knights with Gluttony, I think was their mark. I had 2 units of Spider Riders that scouted and vanguarded up like so. And here's a look at the board. Pretty easy terrain. There's a forest, impassable, 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 some fences, and over there's that water feature. After a little bit, I ended up dropping to take first turn, and let's see how that works out. So I move up the 1 unit so that they're out of arc. Move some other stuff back, keeping range. I think I was keeping 18 and 20 over here, hiding the spider behind the hill, or behind the impassable a bit. My lines kind of shimmy up probably about 4 inches or so, not very far. The Orc Shaman spins around to get range for his spells, and we go into magic phase. I do Swarm of Insects on here. He let it go off, and I caused a wound. And then I also tried to cast the, I guess the first one there. Didn't go off, though. We go into shooting. We shoot some bows at the dogs, the Warhounds, take it down to just 1. He flees, or panics and flees off the table. Or just about off the table. The Doom Diver shot. The Doom Divers, I guess, both shot at this Warrior Chariot back here. We put 2 wounds on it. And then with the thrown weapons, we actually managed to do a wound over here, surprisingly. So that's it for my turn 1. Warriors of the Dark Gods, he's got pretty much all he has is movement. There's no magic and no shooting in his list. So turn 1 for him is pretty much just going across the board a bit. I think he did declare this charge and failed it. And beyond that, that's what his movement looks like. And like I said, there's no shooting and there's no magic. So we go into Orc and Goblins turn 2. So for Orc and Goblins turn 2, we try and march these guys up. They fail that march check. I bring these guys up here to kind of chaff in the way. The Spider comes up there, hoping that he'll charge the Barbarians and the Chosen Chariot. And the Orc boys as well as that Forest Goblin King are just kind of hanging out, waiting for this guy to either come over here and be charged or make my guys flee. The rest of the lines pretty much stayed put where they were over here, minus the Orc General and the Shaman that ducked into the corner over here. I just wanted to make sure I got into leadership range, as it didn't work out so good the last couple times of that Gargantua. We go into Magic. We get Awaken the Beast to get resilience on these guys here. And we try and do the Swarm of Insects, which he stops over here again. Then we go into Shooting. Amazingly, we knock off another Knight, I believe. We do, I think, 2 wounds to the Giant. And another wound to that Chariot up here. And that's pretty much it. We go into Warriors of the Dark Gods turn 2. Just like I kind of figured, he charges with the Chosen Chariot as well as the Barbarians. Over here, those Knights charged the Spiders, and I fled, but not far enough, and he managed to catch me and run me down. Over here, the Giant charged solo into the Orcs with Bows, and I passed the Terror test, and I put 2 wounds on him that he doesn't save. And that was it for charges, I believe. So the Giant makes it in. Both these units make it in. And like I said, those Knights over there had managed to chase down those Spiders, so that's their positioning. The random move gets right up in my face. And he moves his Feldrax and his Forsaken close enough, getting ready to fight the Iron Orcs. So that's kind of how the table is looking. We go into combat. Over here, he did 4 wounds to the Spider, all with the Chosen Chariot. And I beat the unit up. I think there was 15 there to begin with, and I knocked it down to just 2 after stomps and all of that. He fled, and I chose to hold because now on my turn I can actually see the corner of his unit over here for those warriors. I think I like that fight. Over here against the Giant, he beats up on me. I think I actually did 2 wounds back to him again. Very hurt, but we continue that fight. He knocks me down. I'm still steadfast, and I stick. I failed the first time, but luckily the BSB is close enough that I passed the second time. We go into Orc and Goblins, turn 3. So these guys can see the flank of that Forsaken one. So we charge. The Spider, like I said, sees the flank of that Warrior unit. And over here I can see the flank with this guy, as well as the General, Orc War Boss General charges front over here. All the charges make it in. And that's pretty much how the table is looking like at this point. I think at this turn 2, I reformed on the spot to get behind the fence a little bit better. Yep. And, oh yes, I did try one other charge. Over here, I have that character in the unit. I charged him out to try and get that last wound off that Chariot. Unfortunately, he failed the charge, and now he's just sitting out in the open kind of thing. We go into Magic, I believe. Killed off the wounded Chariot with Swarm of Insects. And we got +1. Actually, I think he stopped this one. I think I tried to do +1 strength on these guys, but he stopped it. We go into Shooting, knock off another one of those Barbarians that's fleeing. We put 3 wounds on the Feldrax with a Doom Diver. Or a Git Launcher, I suppose. 2 wounds on the other Warrior Chariot with a Git Launcher. That's pretty much it. Fight that Giant combat versus the Orcs with Bows. He knocks me down, and I flee. We go over here. He suffered a few wounds, not a whole lot. I think I took 1 back this turn, so I'm up to 5. But he stuck on his steadfast check, and he's good to go. In this big one over here, we wipe out that Forsaken one, no problem. He does do his grind attacks, which I wasn't aware of to go in, but he killed 6 of me off. So looking a little injured going into this fight, but should still be good. Warriors of the Dark Gods, turn 3, I believe. So both the Feldrax and the Forsaken ones come into the front. The Giant charges the archers off and redirects into the Git Launcher. I think that was pretty much it for charges. He didn't want to charge into the fence and kept it for better position, I think. Yeah, he used his chariot as chaff, essentially, in front over here. His chosen chariot rallies, and surprisingly enough, his lone barbarian, I think he rallied this time as well. And then we go into combat. So over here, he beats me up a bit more. He only did... I think he only did 1 more wound to me, if I remember correctly. 1 or 2. I know he was short and was pretty upset about that, understandably, but we stick around. Over here, he beats up on me, beat up on him. I pass my check, sticking around. And that's pretty much it. Over here, the Giant got rid of that Git Launcher, no problem. And faces to get the next one. That's what the board looks like as we go into turn 4 for Orc and Goblins. So now that that flank is exposed, the Goblins over here decide to go for it. I believe this turn I also called out the War Cry. This single Orc character charges the rear of this unit over here. These Orcs charge the chariot. The Forest Goblin King and the Spider charges out around to that chosen chariot. And the Shaman, for what it was worth, I thought maybe if I get a spell off, you know, he'll only wound me on 5s and try and kill out those Iron Orcs. So he charges the flank as well. The General moves up within some leadership bubble range, as well as to protect against that Giant if the Git Launcher misses this turn. These Spiders move up to shoot off that Barbarian. Yeah, and that's kind of what the table looks like as we go into Magic, I suppose. Magic didn't really do much because I forgot that, you know, I only had the 1 spell that was be able to be cast in combat, so he stopped that one, couldn't do anything. We go into shooting, we try and shoot this guy off, and I believe he actually lives. I think I missed a picture here. Yeah, over here you see that the Giant is missing. The Git Launcher did not miss. These guys missed. We go into combat. He fails to put the last wound on the Spider with the being netted, -1 strength. And we win by static combat res, and we overrun, but we're about an inch shy of reaching that chosen chariot. I think it was about 2 inches, actually. But in this combat, after I missed, the chosen chariot beat up on that Forest Goblin King and killed him. These guys, they win that combat and just pivot on the spot, getting ready to face whatever comes next here. And this round, he kind of whiffs a little bit, actually. As you can see, my Shaman is dead, but there's still some Iron Orcs there, and I'm still sticking around. And that's pretty much it as we go into Warriors of the Dark Gods turn 4. So he didn't really have too terribly much. The Chosen Chariot charged into that Gargantula, and the rest of his units were in combat. This is the turn I think that Barbarian actually rallied. Went right into combat. He killed the Gargantula. The the Cave Goblins here fled. And then we went to this combat. He killed out the Iron Orcs around me, and the BSB fled, and he went past over here and smashed right into the front over on the other side. Oddly enough, he put 2 wounds in this combat on my Iron Orc BSB, and of course I fled through the forest and took the dangerous terrain for the last one. So he didn't actually catch me. He didn't have to, apparently. But that's what it's looking like as we go into turn 5. So I don't really have a whole lot over here. This forest, or this lone chief, tried to charge his chosen chariot, and then these guys continued to flee over on this side. We go into combat, since I got no magic and nothing that can see. I did try and shoot at the chosen chariot, but missed, didn't do anything. We killed the barbarian off, though. We did manage to kill the lone barbarian off, which was kind of nice. We went into that combat. He does a bunch of damage to me. I don't think I did even a single wound back to him. And I break. Then we go into Warriors of the Dark Gods turn 5. The Feldrax make a charge here. And I believe they redirected it into my Warlord. These guys declared a charge against my Warlord. And that Chosen Chariot declared a charge here. So these guys fled off the table. This guy fled to over here somewhere. And then I decided to flee with my Warlord on the chariot as well. So there's that flee, and them failing their charges. That's it for turn 5. Turn 6, we move up the spiders just to try and shoot that chosen chariot. Might get lucky. My general, oddly enough, doesn't rally. So he's continued to flee. And I still have those boar boys over here that are scoring. He's going to have... Currently, he's got 1 unit that's in the thing, so we're tied. And then we go into the shooting. Didn't manage to do the last bit of wounds on that guy. This guy rallied over here. I suppose my Orc Chief rallied. And turn 6, he was thinking about charging to wrap up that last bit of points, but instead went for the secondary and just walked both of them just so he didn't have to fail the charge. So that's the end of the game right there. We tallied up the points. It was a 12-8 win for the Warriors. And just at the end there, the Warriors grabbed the secondary as well. So it was a 15-5 final score. Another fun game. Still learning some stuff with these orcs and getting them kind of dialed in a little bit, I think, for what I have anyway. Hopefully I'll get some paint on these guys a little bit soon as well. Hope you guys enjoyed the battle, and stay tuned for the next one.